Welcome back to the channel, everybody, for another ESO build video. I'm your boy Fuzzy. Today I'm going to be showing you my Magplar build for the Flames of Ambition patch. This is also a dedication to Hackhoff. This build is going to be called the Hackhoff, and I'll get into that in a second. But first, before we get into that, if you like the content on this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe, push that notification bell, and hit that like button to get the latest content from this channel. And now let's get into it. So I pretty much made this build for Hackhoff. He wanted to get into Magicka characters again and for streams. If you don't know who Hackhoff is, I'll have a link to his channel in the description down below. But he wanted to play Magplar and stuff, and so I told him what I ran on a few of my Magicka characters. This build's already been out there. I've already put it on my channel, but I do run it a little bit differently on this Magplar. Kirk's been killing it with it. Extremely strong with the Magplar. He's been getting a bunch of 1vx's. I'm running on not so great internet right now, and the game's been so laggy, so it's rough for me, so I can't really stream right now. So Kirk's been streaming, and he runs the similar version of this build. It's a little bit different, but I cover all the ways in this video, as you'll see later on down in the video. He also will be live streaming from, I think, between 8 and 9 o'clock Central Time, and he streams every night, every day of the week. So make sure you go and check that out if you want to see the build in action. As you can see, I put some gameplay in this video at the beginning and the end, so you can also see this in action, how I run it also. But for the most part, Kirk's been killing it on this build, and he loves the Magplar, and he's normally a stamina player. So make sure you go check him out, and you'll be able to see the build in live action. So as I said, this build's pretty common, but it's okay. It's still a lot of fun, and it still works very, very well in Cyrodiil in the no proc meta right now. This build hits extremely hard, and we've got great survivability. We've got like 38k resistances when we stand in our rune. When we're not standing in it, we're at like 32 to 35, which is still really nice. We got really good heals, a lot of damage. We're at like 5k damage, which you'll see in the build description in the video. Overall, if you want a 1vx Magplar, this is probably the way to go, honestly. I love this build. It works on multiple Magicka characters too. Not every character is the best on, but for the most part, on like my Magblade and my Magplar and a few others, it works really well. It's pretty much one of the best builds out there by far. I'm sure a lot of people use it. There are different variations, but for the most part, the two main 5-piece sets are the same. But enough talk. We'll hop into the build video and get right into it. Alright, here we are. Let's hop into the character sheet. So these are our unbuffed stats. Good amount of Magicka. We have 35k Magicka, 17.5k Magicka recovery, 1000 health recovery, 28.5k health, almost 20k stamina. We have 3394, almost 3400 spell damage unbuffed. That's because we're running a two-hander with sharpened. I'll go over that in detail a little bit in the video. We have 26% crit, which isn't bad, and then we have 13.5k spell penetration, which can go up to 19 to 20k, 18 depending on how you want to run the build, or you can keep it at this. It's up to you how you want to run it. And then we have 26.5k spell resistance, and we have 2100 physical resistance, along with 2742 critical resistance, which is really nice. So overall our stats are looking really good. I am an Argonian on this. You can go Dark Elf. Hackhoff runs it Dark Elf, as this is a tribute to him when I helped him made the build a while back, and he's been using it now. So Dark Elf, Argonian both work. I like to run Argonian, but you can go Dark Elf. We have 64 points into max Magicka. We are running the Jugernaut for Magicka recovery. I feel is important. You do need recovery on this guy, especially with our heals and all the stuff that we have on him. Makes us really powerful, but we also need the sustain to be able to use all of our abilities. And our food is going to be Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Bewitched Sugar Skulls is really good. It's going to give us an overall nice boost to all of our stats. And if you go with Dark Elf, you'll be sitting at like 24k, 23k max stamina. So it's really nice either way you go. Now let's go to the back bar real quick. These are unbuffed stats on the back bar. You can check these out, pause the video, check them all out. A little less spell damage, but we have good resistances. Dang it, Killjoy, get out of here. Alright. I'm sorry, that's the beer chick. So, if we throw down our ruins, this is not standing on a ruin because it's going down to the ground below. We are sitting at 35.5k spell resistance with 30k physical resistance on our back bar. Standing in the ruin, we'll be at 38k spell resistance, and physical resistance will be at 3300. Or 33,000, sorry, physical. So that's really nice, good stats for our back bar. We're super tanky, got really good heals. Everything works really nice. Now, if we pop a pot, You see that our recoveries go up to 2210 for Magica recovery, 1308 for health recovery, and 863 for stamina recovery, which is really nice. Also, being Argonian, we get 3125 health, stamina, and Magica back every time we use a pot. If you're a Dark Elf, it really won't matter because you already got high stats anyways with Magica, stamina, and your damages, so that is really nice also. So both ways work. Now let's go into our inventory. So for slottables, like I said, Beaver Sugar Skulls is our food, and I use Crouch Run Restoration Potions, Tri-Stat Pots, or you can use Immovability Pots, completely up to you. Both work very well. Our front bar is going to be Fortified Brass, Great Sword, this is our first set. We have a Berserker enchantment on here for the weapon and spell damage increase, and then we have Sharpen, make sure it's sharpened and make sure it's a sword. It will give you the most damage you can get for your bang for your buck, all whatever you want to call it. This gives us the most damage you can get. It's better than running a lightning staff no matter what anyone says. We get the penetration plus the damages, which is a lot higher overall damage for everything, and it also boosts our stats. Then this gives us health, max armor, and then adds 3,419 armor. Now for our back bar, we're running Fortified Brass Restoration Staff, defending. I have a Life Drain enchantment on here. You can put whatever you'd like. Deals magic damage and restores health. The defending gives us that increased resistances, which is really nice, which puts us up to over the 30k mark on our back bar. We have a Dami House helm for our helmet. This is helmet heavy, so I run 3 heavy, 4 light. Kirk runs 5 heavy, 2 light. You can run it either way you want. I just prefer the 3 heavy and the 4 light. We have a Tri-Stat enchant on here. Then we have Impenetrable. Preferably you'd want Impenetrable on everything. This is going to give us the max Magica and max stamina. Then our chest piece is going to be Fortified Brass, Reinforced. You don't have to go Reinforced, you can put Impenetrable. I preferred Reinforced for myself. This is going to be a heavy. And this is going to have a max Magica enchantment on here. And then I'm running Valkan Scoria for my shoulders. You don't have to run this. You can run whatever you'd like. You can go with, Swarm Mothers for increased more stamina and Magica, or you can go with Mighty Chuden for more armor, which we really don't need. Or you can go with Balorgs, that's completely optional too, for more damage. Or you can go for Shadow Rends, Kirk runs Shadow Rends too, or you can go with Trainee also. Impenetrable preferably, and if you run the Shadow Rends or Trainee and all that stuff, just make sure that it's light, not medium. Like I have right here. This will give you max Magica, or you can go with the max health with the Trainee piece like Kirk does. Our waist is going to be Fortified Brass, Impenetrable, max Magica, and then for our third and final set, or actually this will be our fourth set, Spinners. We're going to go with Spinners. Spinners is really nice, it's going to give us that penetration. We have a max Magica enchantment on here with Impenetrable, preferably everything be Impenetrable. This is going to give us max Magica spell damage, and then it's going to give us 3,419 spell penetration. Our legs are going to be heavy, so Fortified Brass, Impenetrable, max magic on here. So our 3 heavy pieces are going to be our legs, our chest, and our head. But like I said, if you can make the helmet light if you want, and just do the chest and legs heavy. So you have 5 light, 2 heavy. But I have 4 light, 3 heavy. Spinners boots right here, Impenetrable with max magic enchantment on it. And then we have all Spinners jewelry. You can mix this and match this however you want to get it to work the same way, as long as you have the same sets. We have all infused jewelry, 1 spell damage, 2 Magica recovery. Now if you're a Dark Elf, you can switch this out a little bit, I guess, if you want. You could go with a little more damage or less damage, make more recovery. Either way, it works for you, but how I run it is I run 2 Magica recovery glyphs and then 1 spell damage. But if you don't need that much recovery, then you can run more spell damage on here, or vice versa, however you'd like to run it. Now, if we go back up, on your back bar, you can run Sword and Board if you'd like and put Pierce. That's one way to run it. I was running it that way, but it's a little bit of a pain sometimes to hit people, all the people that you need. So instead of, instead of the Restoration Staff, you can actually put Inferno Staff on here if you'd like, or you can put Frost Staff. It's completely optional, up to you. And then you can switch out one of the abilities on the back bar that I'll show you in a second. Instead of regen, you can put weakness to elements on there. So that's another way you can run it. It's completely optional how you want to go about it. Now for our skills. So our first up is going to be Degeneration. It's really good. It's going to put a dot on them and give us our major sorcery. Inner Light will give us our max Magica increased by 5% and our major prophecy, which is also really nice. You can switch this out. You don't I switch this. Kirk runs it this way, but I also use it this way and then a different way too. I also will switch this out and put on Solar Barrage. If you put on Solar Barrage, you actually can get increased damages from the passives in there. So that's up to you. This will put us at 5k spell damage on our Argonian. On a Dark Elf, you'll be at, I think, like 5,400 spell damage. Without this, you'll be at 5k, and without this, you'll be at 4.8 on the Argonian. This is optional, completely up to you if you want to run it this way. But Inner Light works really well too. We have Radiant Oppression. This is going to be our Execute. Does an insane amount of damage. As you can see, 480% more damage to enemies below 50%. So this is our Execute. Normally don't use this until they're like at least 30% to 25% health. Then we have Toppling Charge. This is going to be our Gap Closer. Works really nice. Also, it stuns them and interrupts the target if they're casting. It does decent amount of damage, but it's just setting them off balance and stunning them for 3 seconds is really nice. And then we have our Puncturing Sweeps, which this is your main spammable ability. Does a really good amount of damage. This is an unbuffed tooltip. This also heals you, which is really nice at the same time, and it does multiple damage, AoE damage to multiple targets in front of you. Then we have Crescent Sweep for our ulti. This does a good amount of damage. It's not the highest hitting thing, but it does damage to all the targets in front of you, and additional 4,000 magic damage every 2 seconds for 6 seconds straight. And enemies in your path will be hit for 60% more damage, which is really nice. So everyone in front of you will take increased more damage. It's a really good ulti, and it's really cheap. Backbar. We have Channeled Focus. This is going to be our spell resistance and physical resistance increase, so it's going to give us our major resolve. Also, while standing in it, increases your physical and spell resistance by 50%. That's how we get to the 38,000 on the spell and 33,000 on the physical if you stand in it. Realistically, no one really can stay in it for long. Extended Ritual. This is going to be our cleanse. This is a really good ability. Plus, it will give us resources back. Then we have Honor the Dead. This is going to be our main heal. This is sort of expensive, but the way we have it set up in this build, you'll be able to hit this heal a few times and you'll be able to stay alive, and it really comes in clutch. It's a really good heal. Then we have Living Dark. This is a flex spot. You can put whatever you'd want here. I prefer Living Dark. I like Living Dark, but if you go Vampire like Kirk does, you can put your Elusive Mist right here, and you can go that way if you would like. That's another option. And then for our last one's going to be Rapid Regeneration if you run the Resto Staff. If you run the Flame Staff, you can put on Elemental Drain on the back bar, and Elemental Drain will give you resources back, also applying Major Breach to your targets, which takes them down 6k. So altogether we'll be sitting at like 19.5k, almost 20k penetration if you use this. I found to be able to melt people down without it, but it is really nice sometimes. You'll be a little squishier on the back bar, but you can put depending on your staffs on the back bar if you want to. It's completely optional and how you want to run it. So this is another flex spot. Alright, for our last one is our ulti, and you can put Undo, preferably would be the best one for the Psijic Order skill line. The passive that it gives you would be the damage mitigation, but I didn't feel like regrinding for it on this character since I have it on like 9 out of my 18 characters. I'm not redoing it. I just put on Remembrance, but you can put whatever you'd like here for your ulti. This is just what I run, but Kirk, I'm pretty sure, runs Undo on there. So that's optional and up to you what you'd like to run on your back bar. Now let's go into our champion points. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. First off, starting out, we're Biting Aurora, Resilience, Duelist Rebuff, and Untamed Aggression are the 4, so you can pause this at any time to check them out, and you don't have to run your champion points the same way as I do. So our first one, we have 40 points into Eldritch Insight. We have 30 points into Quick Recovery, 40 points into Hardy, 50 into Resilience. We have 50 into Duelist Rebuff. We have 40 into Bless for increased healing, so we have 7% healing altogether. We have Untamed Aggression, 50 points into there for the increased spell and weapon damage. Extended Might, we have 40 into Piercing. And we have 50 into Biting Aurora. For our red tree, starting off, we have Boundless Vitality, Ironclad, Rejuvenation, and Jugernaut are the main 4. We have Tumbling, 45 into Tumbling, 10 into Mystic Tenacity just to open this tree so we can get Hero's Vigor, which gives us a max health. Then we have 40 into Sprinter. We have 16 into Hasty. We have 40 into Defiance, which is really good. This reduces our cost of break free. Juggernaut's really important. We have 50 into here, 10% damage mitigation when we're CC, stunned, or off balance, set off balance by like Dizzying Swing or any of that stuff, or CC to anything that pretty much stuns you, CCs you or puts you off balance. It's 10% damage mitigation, so it's really important to have. We have 50 into rejuvenation, increase our max health, magic, and stamina recoveries. We have 50 into ironclad, increases our armor by 1,731, and then we have boundless vitality, which increases our max health by another 1,400, which is really nice. Then our green tree, these really don't matter, you're just doing these to unlock these trees, but the main ones you want to have is 50 into breakfall for reduced fall damage. I have 50 into steadfast enchantment, so we don't have to recharge our staffs or weapons as much. Then we have the main ones you want is rationeer, 30 minutes increase to our food and drink. Liquid efficiency, 10% chance to not consume a potion, which is really nice. Steed's blessing reduces our out of combat movement speed by 16%, which is really nice. And then because this is my master crafter, I have malicious dissembly, but you can put in gifted rider, which will increase your mount speed in Cyrodiil. So the 4 we have in here is rationeer, liquid efficiency, and then Steed's blessing, and then you can do gifted rider. That's about it for the build. Hopefully I covered everything. If I missed anything, just let me know in the comment sections down below. I appreciate everyone stopping by and checking out the build. Also, make sure to check out Kirk's stream. He'll be putting this build live. He's enjoying the Magplar, and it's good to see him on a Magic character, so make sure you go check that out. He'll be streaming every night at like between 8 and 9 o'clock Central Time. So just make sure you log on, check it out at night. If you're just hanging out or laying back, relaxing, you want to see some good gameplay, he 1BXs, solo 1BXs every single night by himself, every single day of the week. So make sure to go check him out. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.